First thing that I do is press a button on the bottom left corner of the front faceplate. Then I check the back and ensure that the small T-shaped latch is pressed into the unlocked position. After moving that latch to the side, the case opens right up, and now that that is off, we have access to the inside. The next thing that I do is slide a little lever to the side and we free up an entire expansion card. Attached to this riser board is one single PCI card, so to get that out we remove one screw, and with that a small modem card is removed. Then to free up the riser card we remove two additional screws. And now the card is freed from its backing. Next, I focus my attention on removing some wires that connect everything to the motherboard. So I begin disconnecting all of the wires, but I then realize the power supply is in the way. So I locate a spring latch on the back edge of the case and pull it. This allows the power supply to swing out to the side, and now I just continue to disconnect and remove all visible wires. These include our IDE cables, a couple small cables, our power supply connector, and pretty much everything else that we can see. So now the next thing that I focus on is that green shroud. So it's a little tricky to open, but by sticking my fingers into the small slots on the top, I can pry off that cover. This is then followed by sliding off the fan and disconnecting its cable. We then take out our second slot CPU of the series by pressing both sides of the processor. So we have ourselves a Pentium 3, not a 2, despite the case saying otherwise. So we remove one stick of memory, and then we remove the plastic bracket holding the slot CPU down by taking out 4 Phillips head screws. Now keep in mind that these retention brackets have potential resale value online, as these can be rather hard to come by these days, so that is something to keep in mind. So I then switch out the screwdriver to a socket in order to more easily remove the motherboard's bolts. Upon trying to take out the motherboard, a metal caddy is in the way, so I end up switching back to the screwdriver to take out just one single screw. Now upon removing that screw, we pull up on the caddy and rotate the case of it to the side. To completely remove it, we move the case upside down and that pops right out. So now this box is completely out. So the next thing we do is take out 4 Phillips head screws, allowing us to separate this hard drive from the shell. Now, this particular hard drive is a Seagate HDD and it has a rubber shockproof jacket, so I think that's pretty interesting. Anyway, since the metal box is taken out now, our rather large motherboard can then slide right out. We just unclip another connector that we missed earlier. So yeah, at this point, we are almost done with the computer, and the next thing I focus on removing is that power supply. As you can see, it's still attached to the case, so to finally get that out, we will take out one single screw. We then wiggle out the power supply, and it is removed successfully. We then slide the arm back into place. Finally, all we are left is the components in the front of the computer, so by pressing on a green tab in the front and pushing from the inside, the front panel pops right out, and we can see all of our leftover parts. We first press on the top green tab and slide out our floppy drive, followed by our DVD drive, which also comes out the front after pressing on 2 metal tabs. Once those are free, one screw is taken out. Some wires are routed out. And our LED and button board is freed. That one remaining pair of wires is snipped close to the case, and our teardown is finally complete. Inside we had the following: our metal caddy and screws, as well as some wiring and a low-grade board. We also have 2 pairs of IDE cables, as well as our dusty power supply. We also have a floppy drive, a Mitsumi DVD drive, and a motherboard, which just happens to have an unused card slot on the right side, which I thought was interesting. Finally, we have a riser board with a modem card attached to it, 1 stick of memory, a hard drive, and a Pentium 3 slot processor to wrap things up. So yeah, we had a lot inside this computer, and I hope you enjoyed the teardown. Our next video will be another Dell computer, but it will be a lot newer than the others we have seen so far. So I hope you stick around, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.